videos about timelines and how to manipulate them, which, as is often the case with sorcery, is done through visualization. Visualization and energy coding is one of many ways to approach your timelines. What a timeline is a possibility or potentiality that can be viewed and activated or deactivated. They can be remote viewed and in fact feature heavily into remote viewing. A timeline is a possibility of what your energy can do that can be reached out to and manipulated by a sorcerer. Energy is constantly pouring out from the present into the future. It is my understanding that it does this in timelines, individual possibility strings. It's possible that you wake up one day and do this thing or that thing, and the different possibilities abound in constant motion. Energy is constantly spilling in all directions, and sometimes its motions form shapes and lines of flow, like a river constantly splitting and rejoining at various points, connecting to other rivers or spilling into more than one direction. By manipulating timelines, you can edit the river's course before you get there. This will help you decide the present before it happens. There are many forms of magic designed to manipulate timelines. It is possible to see in advance the future and change it by blocking off the flow of energy. Usually, perception alone is not enough to cause. Usually, perception alone is enough to cause the timeline not to manifest. Any viewing of it is a link to it, which will alter and influence it, and this will likely cause it not to manifest. The timeline you want usually does not include you knowing about it, so there's the matter of how to hide them from yourself. And to that end, the answer is to have a spirit constantly looking over and deciding your timelines, but you can't have an extended copy of yourself doing something if you don't know how to do it. Energy, in my experience, tends to flow not to flow through a tainted line. It can't do the same thing twice, to my knowledge, although in some cases the opposite is true. So finding all the timelines you don't want and exploring them will help you learn about the future and help your odds of living through a timeline you want. Having a spirit constantly dedicated to this practice is a key point in many magical paths. It is possible to make certain timelines happen, although it's very tricky. There are multiple ways to do this. There is oblivionizing the best timeline and tainting the rest. There are energy vortexes and reality bombs. You can also poison timelines, which gives your target bad luck, or bless them, which gives them good luck if done correctly. Your timelines are extensions of you, extensions of yourself who are constantly flowing in every direction, taking certain paths and encountering others' energy and paths. It is possible to nurture or destroy these parts of you. One method to activate timelines is to soil all the competing timelines, although this can be tricky without some way of mapping them out. Living through all the timelines you don't want can make the one you want happen, if done correctly. But to know in advance what timelines you want calls for servants in the astral who will monitor your timelines. You're going to use the same technique as usual, visualization. Visualize your timelines or your targets and targets timelines and see them in your mind's eye however they appear. Here you can manipulate them. You can visualize manipulating them with various energies, putting your intent into the energies as a method by which you can cause the timelines to bend to your desire. Let the images flow to your mind's eye and force the change you want to make to them through your willpower. Doing this is kind of dangerous, but that's the point of the occult now, isn't it? You might want to set up some of your servants, egregores, servitors, or tulpas, your extensions, your creations, to constantly watch and manipulate your timelines for your best benefit. This is one of the jobs you can set them to do. They will get better at over time, even if you or they don't have a lot of skill with it at the start. It is one of the key skills. I recommend creating at least one extension and dedicating it to the job of watching and improving your timelines. It is, in my opinion, the most important form of sorcery. I've had people who watch my timelines tap me on the shoulder and direct me in many directions to my better benefit successfully countless times. Watching timelines can decide anything from who gets a job to who wins a war. Many things can be decided by timeline manipulation, viewing, and poisoning. Make sure you have adequate protection and benefit in that area. You don't want to be the only cat without a little help on their timelines. Timeline writing, destroying, oblivionizing, etc. is a huge way to expand your possibilities, so I recommend having one of your extensions working for you on your timelines all the time.